Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Atlas podcast. Today, I'm going to spark a conversation that I think is incredibly important right now when it comes to our relationships. And it comes off the back of two posts I came across over the last couple of days that just really got me thinking. They really got me thinking about my work. They got me thinking about the world of relationship support, and they just got me thinking about how we view relationships and how complicated they are. And let me explain. I'll start with the first post. The first post said, if your relationship is hard, you're with the wrong person. And it struck me because it contradicts a lot of the posts that you see, which is yes, relationships are hard, but they're supposed to be. And relationships are hard because of everything that comes up in your relationship. And, if you're with the right person, then the hard will be easier. And this person outright believes that relationships are easy if they're with the right person. And it got me thinking about what else could this person mean. Now, I don't know this person. I don't know their history. I don't know their experience with relationships. And I don't actually truly know if they would die on their sword on this statement. And a lot of the content that comes around relationships is very clickbaity and very dramatized to reel you in to start the conversation. The desire to be polarizing is pretty loud in the social platform, especially when it comes to things like relationships. Everyone wants to be their own mm, professional in the world, and because relationships are complicated but also not, and a lot of the content that they're going to teach you, including my own, is very similar to others. The reality is that the only way to pull you in is to say something so outlandish that it stops you in your tracks. And so this got me, this baited me really well. And so instead of commenting or responding, I just sat with it. And it's been a couple days now where I've been trying to understand what else could be being said here if I was taking out the possibility of it being overly dramatized or punctuated. And relationships are easy when you're with the right person. It has a couple of flaws in it. One, the implication that the person will come into your life and make your life easy lives in that, which is very untrue, right? A person can support you, a person can love you differently and deeper. A person can bring a different kind of structure or a different approach or a settled system. Yes, that is true. And that can actually support you in feeling more secure. That is true. But the work that you have to do to accept, receive, and acknowledge that security they're offering is not easy. And so it's immediately contradicting this statement of if you're right with the right person, then it will be easy. So then it begs the question, well, okay, well, what if I find the right person and I believe I'm the right person? And I'll use the language of they're securely attached and I'm securely attached. And so two securely attached people come together, right? And so they don't really take things personally that often. They are better at communicating. They are really great alone, and they actively choose the relationship, right? They don't lose it when somebody's facial expressions change or they haven't responded to a text in 2 hours or things of that nature that generally show up in other insecure dynamics. And so two wholeheartedly secure people come together. Relationships are easy if both people are secure. Okay. Well, the reality of a relationship's progression is that you're always in a different season. You're either in one or you're entering a new one. And so over the course of a relationship, you go through the initial honeymoon stage, you go through the secondary stage, which is when you really start to get to know somebody on a deeper level and their quirks and their little tidbits that they do, the things that you don't normally do that contradict each other. And then you move in together and you really start to see these things. And then you enter marriage, right? At some point in there where you have shifted your attachment from your original birth family to now your chosen family, right? So maybe you became securely attached to your family. And so now you're saying, okay, I want to bring that secure attachment to my new family. And then you go kids, right? Or even just the pre children phase where the pressure of kids shows up. You have children, which is its own battle. You raise children, which is another battle, right? And then you need all the money for all of this, by the way. And then you continue down the line. So now your kids are gone. So now it's a empty nest. So now you have that season, and then you have retirement, old age. You have those seasons, and it can sound like I'm drowning out this conversation of relationships are easy if they're with the right person. But what I just wanted to bring to the awareness is that I don't believe that relationships are easy, and I don't believe that relationships are hard. And the reason that I don't hold those beliefs is because I don't believe that anything we do is black and white. I don't believe that if we can live on only one side and then we just never experience the other side. It's like saying the sun's always shining. It's not. The sun sets and it becomes dark outside, right? And in the darkness brings fear, brings worry, brings lower energy. It's just the reality. There is no such thing as all love because that would defeat the reality that there is also hate out there, right? And both of those parts actually exist in us: the light and the dark, the love, the hate, the fear, and so on. And so I don't believe in extremities because I'm not sure it serves what we experience as a human. So, my belief, my take on what I believe relationships are is they're full of hard moments and they're also full of easy moments. And depending on your actions, dependent on your responses, dependent on your healing journey, that will either create more easy moments or it will demand harder moments. And I think that's really important for us to understand because I know a lot of clients come to me and say, I really want peace. I want ease. Just want this to be easier. And that can be true too. We want it to be easier, right? Not outright easy, but of course, we would like this to be more streamlined, more aligned, more connected, and just more on the same page. And so that's what I help my clients with is getting to that place where things become a lot easier more frequently. But I will never offer my client that this will be easy forever because something will show up outside of the relationship, inside of the relationship. It could be from our history, it could be from our current, it could be anything. We're constantly learning and developing, and a relationship is an incredibly powerful mirror for those growth experiences. And so it can be difficult. And God, listen, the truth is that person in your space is the easiest person to put it all on. And so when we talk about relationships are easy with the right person, they might be easier, but they're not going to be void of hard. I will outright admit that I help clients make their relationships easier, but I don't make them full out always easy because I understand from my experience in my current relationship that we have hard moments and we have hard seasons. But I choose this person and I choose this hard. And I also choose this easy. I choose this. And knowing that I choose this clears out a lot of this. Why isn't this easier? Why are we having a difficult time? None of that really matters. The truth is, this is a difficult moment. I trust we're going to get through it. This is a difficult moment. I trust we have the skill set to handle it. This is a difficult moment. We don't have the skill set to handle this. I trust that we'll learn how to find and build that right skill set. It's a continuation, right? It's a constant evolution. And so again, I'm being repetitive here, but what I really want to get across here for this comment is it's okay that it's hard. I firmly believe that it's okay that it's hard. I firmly believe that we can make it easier. And I firmly believe that we will have hard moments, but as we grow and as we develop together, those harder moments will be easier to handle. And I also firmly believe that it won't always be comfortable. And that if it is always comfortable, I would really bargain and challenge that relationship. Is it being authentic? Is it being honest? Is it being truthful? Is it working through the mud, or is it avoiding it? And that's not to say that that's true, but a lot of times a relationship that is void of conflict is often an inauthentic relationship. So if you're in an authentic relationship, you're facing some difficult shit. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong immediately. It just means you're on the path to creating a more secure dynamic together. As long as you're repairing it, which comes to my second comment. I came across this post from a therapist, I believe, and she was offering communication advice for a relationship dynamic. And a guy commented and he said, "So what? We just all are supposed to talk like therapists now to our partner? That doesn't make any sense and it doesn't seem realistic." Okay, totally. It's not lost on me that this comment was from a man. Now, this isn't man shaming. This is the reality that men have more of a difficult time communicating. So, for me, when I started learning communication styles, I often fell into the trap of no way that I communicate is good enough. And so sometimes I wouldn't communicate because I had this story, not always, I had this story that I would just get it wrong. Right? So, very defeating, self defeating, very victim mentality. And what I really was struggling with was my tolerance for holding the tension of difficult emotion. That's really what I was struggling with. It had nothing to do with my communication skills, but that's for a different conversation. Taking his comment into consideration, do we all now have to talk like therapists in our relationship? My instant rebuttal, which I didn't say to this guy, my instant rebuttal to this conversation is yes, if that's what's needed. A lot of the time, we're trying to avoid improving in hopes that things will get better on their own. And because we're not trying anything, it's like the definition of insanity. You just keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. And so when a coach like myself offers a different way of speaking, what we're saying is, how do you get there faster? What I am not saying is you better do that the first time or you messed it all up. There's so much more room for grace and compassion in these conversations. And I think that that's actually something missing in the dialogue. It's also missing in my content is the fact that in a relationship dynamic, God, it pulls at every part of you. It pulls at the depth of your history, it pulls at the depth of your emotion, it pulls at the depth of your human condition. And that shit is hard. That shit takes over. You will be hijacked without even knowing it. And the reality is that you won't always get to the points of feelings first, facts later. You won't always get to what's my intent or my impact here instead of my intention. You won't always get to, hey, I really appreciate you saying that to me. Tell me more. You won't always get to these things because you're activated, because you're tense, and because you're a human experiencing the human condition. And our greatest fear is being rejected and abandoned. And so, in this experience of communication with our partner, what I want to invite you to consider is that God, it's okay that you just don't get it right the first time, that you're going to fuck it up. I expect that. When I work with my clients, I expect them to go and try, and I expect them to come back to me and say, that sucked. And the reality is that what we're looking for in any sort of communication style is how do we fight better? Not how do we stop fighting? How do we fight better? And so when they come back and they say, I hated that, that really sucked, but we tried it again and there was a small shift where we both felt better after we were able to repair this conversation, but we didn't start off that great. It was felt like it was started off the same way it always does. And I praise them and I say, hell yes, great job. Because all we need is a small shift somewhere in the conversation. anywhere, right? One small language shift, one small shift in emotional expression, one small shift. That's all it takes. And so the expectation is never to talk like a therapist. The only time that I would challenge a client to do that would be in a session with me where we're having couples coaching and what they're offering is getting them the same result they always wanted. And so what I challenge them to do is try on a different approach to change the dance that they're doing right now. That's it. I will then invite them to speak like a therapist in an effort to show them what's possible if they rearrange some of the language and the tonality and the timing. Unless that moment is needed, I trust that what will happen in a conversation with a client and what I trust that will happen in your relationship is that you will stay authentic, you will have your full-blown emotional expression, that you will say the tough things, and what you will do is remain focused on respect as a human being as best as you possibly can. And you will always come back and take high accountability and ownership for the way that you just messed up. And you will change that. You will make improvements, even if they're small. Because the goal isn't perfection, the goal is always progress. And so over time, we get better at speaking to each other. And over time, what we hopefully get better at is being able to hold the tenseness, the the fire of intense conflict in a safe environment, in a safe container. It's not all, you know, wow, like thank you for sharing. I'm so grateful for this conversation. Wow, this was so awesome. I'm so glad I got to experience all of your anger. Like we're not having that kind of dialogue because again, we're a human experiencing a human condition and normal reaction. And so what I want to maybe close the loop on this here is that a couple things. It's okay that it's hard. First and foremost, I said that earlier. I'm saying it again. It's okay that it's hard. Second piece, you don't need to talk like a therapist and you don't need to get it right. All we need to do is make progress. Third piece is you do not need to hide your emotion. You don't need to close yourself off to what you're experiencing. There are ways that we can learn how to express our emotion that isn't demoralizing, isn't shredding another human being, isn't completely detaching from our actual experience where we're not hijacked. There is a way to feel our emotion and express our emotion in those ways authentically. So you don't need to hide your emotion. The fourth piece is be honest, but try to remain respectful. How do you share what you're honestly experiencing without tearing your partner down? Because you love them and you know that they wouldn't go out of their way to hurt you. And you know that they're not this evil, brutal human being. You know that you've committed to somebody that you love and you know that they love you. And so I came across this video the other day from Alex Hormozy. He said, in my relationship, in my marriage, we round up, we don't round down. And so rounding up means I know you don't have bad intentions. I know you love me, and I love you, and I know we're married and I know we're in this. So I'm not going to assume worst case scenario here. I'm going to see what else could possibly be happening here. But that doesn't mean that I just park my honesty. There's just different ways to deliver it that are respectful, that don't need to fall in this perfectly equanimous equanimous, equal, balanced, calm emotional state. It doesn't need to be like that. The last piece is make the main goal true repair. A lot of us don't know or don't experience true repair. We either wait till our emotional state is diffused and we move on, and maybe we apologize. We don't get to the root of the issue. And so it always keeps coming up. And we don't take accountability at a level that softens our partner's experience so that we can come back to connection. A lot of conflict goes unrepaired in our relationship dynamics. And the reality is, yeah, you can last the long haul with never repairing. But what I can almost guarantee is that the longer you go experiencing a lack of repair over and over and over again, the higher likelihood that you are not going to be your authentic self, that you're now withholding your truth, that you don't feel as safe as you might think you do in your relationship. And it's a higher likelihood of the relationship slowly deteriorating, building contempt, which is an automatic relationship killer, building resentment, and just continuously arguing and fighting in explosive ways about things that really don't matter, but they feel like they matter because the feeling has accumulated. It's like a pressure cooker. You just keep turning up the temp over and over and over again every single time we don't repair. So make the goal not to get it perfectly communicated, not to linguistically wrap this in a beautiful bow. Sure, we fight for that and sure we try, but a lot of times our authenticity wants to come out anyway. So we don't really feel complete with the conversation. So make the goal true repair and make sure you include authenticity, being yourself, being the wholeness of who you are. Gabby and I have had fights where they have been big, they have been loud, they have been not so nice. But what we do after that is what matters the most. What we do after that is we don't let it go. We don't pretend it didn't happen. We absolutely do not blame the other person for what just happened. We always come back to the conversation with a firm belief that we both played a part here. What is that part? Where do I need to take ownership? How deep can I go with acknowledging that ownership? Meaning, where do I now know this is coming from? Where do I know I just got hijacked from? Was it 6-year-old me? Was it 15-year-old me? Who was just driving my car? What historical experience have I had in my life that was really fucking hard that I haven't fully healed from yet or grieved yet that just sparked up now? Right? Where am I playing my part? What aspects of my part are being influenced by past experiences? And how can I also see all of those things in my partner? That their historical experience is impacting them now, that their childhood is impacting them now, that they got hijacked, that we both got hijacked. And so, how do we now contribute to healing this conflict, repairing the rupture, and finding a deepened sense of true repair where this conversation, if it comes up again, is way smaller, way more of a micro experience because we get it, because we understand it, because we feel more connected to it, because we feel more connected to each other. So, all in all, I think what we're gathering here, I hope we're gathering here, is relationships require a lot of grace for our humanness. They require us to have compassion for our humanness, not just for our partners, but for ours as well. All the ways that we don't show up the greatest, all the ways that we could improve, all the ways that we could be more productive towards a better conversation or have a more effective reactive or response. Like we're all, as Ram Dass said, we're all just walking each other home. And in order to do that, I believe that we need to be authentic. And then we also need to be open to the fact that we're not perfect, that there are parts of us that exist that are difficult, but we heal through relationship. We walk each other home. That's the episode for today. I hope somewhere in there you were able to tug at a thread that may have been tightly wound and now it's, evolving a little bit in your mind. I hope that my biggest hope is that you walk away with a little bit more of a settled nervous system, knowing that it's okay that it's hard. knowing that you're not the only one that goes through hard, knowing that you really actually don't know how hard it is for a lot of other relationships and what they really experience. And so you are one of many who are just trying to figure it out. And so, if you are like one of my clients who wants to take the next step in actually supporting your relationship with active ownership and accountability practices and procedures and systems to help things go easier, to help you rebuild or continue to build a really strong foundation of safety, stability, and trust so that you can keep building new floors on top of it. I call it the skyscraper of your love. Skyscraper, your relationship's a skyscraper, right? If your foundation is weak, there's only so many floors you can build before it all topples over and you're rebuilding again. And so, how do you build that strong foundation together? Right? What are the skills that needed? What are the tools needed? What are the agreements needed? If you're in that space, please reach out to me. There is no need for you to do it alone. I get a lot of my relationship support from the groups that I attend. And it's so potent because I always learn something about myself, but I also learn something about another person that kind of makes me say, hey, yeah, me too. The first thing I tell my clients is I just want you to know that I'm going through relationship stuff too. I'm still learning too, because that's the truth. None of us are perfect. Not a single person you ever meet that offers you support has it figured out. So the only thing they have is better systems, better strategies that are getting them the results that they need for their specific relationship. They're not even better. I would just say they're more productive for what they need in their relationship. And so what you may need is a more effective and productive tool for the results that you're looking for in yours. So reach out to me, email me directly, atlasmecca@gmail.com, or go to the link in my bios on my socials and book a discovery call. There's actually one at the bottom of this podcast here. Book it in with me. Let's talk. It's an hour. I promise you, at the end of that hour, you will leave with a deepened understanding of yourself, a deepened understanding of your partner, and a better understanding of what your relationship needs, and then an action or a perspective or a tool to tangibly go and put into place for the next week to actually see some tangible change in your relationship in the ways that you want it to. You can hear my dog in the bathroom. Nope, she's in the background as usual, drinking away in the middle of me trying to record a podcast in a quiet room. So that's my cue. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, subscribe, download, let me know what you think about it. Give it a rating. I'd love that because it helps me understand what you're looking for, where you might need support, and how this podcast can continue to grow and get better. And my favorite thing, how I can also improve and get better and support you better. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.